distant dream, clear horizon, open seas. Why can't we please? I know why this world's alone. Mistakes that we've made.
As Sigmund Freud once said, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. The storm is that uglier method. Ellie has been unable to express all these things that I have said, so her internal storm is literalized as a way to show us there is so much more boiling beneath the surface. We are building the foundation for a narrative here. You can keep things rather simplistic in other areas, but have deeper things going on beneath the surface. What does the line, "I need her last words," really mean for Eugene? What kind of closure was he looking for with that line? What does the line,
"Oh, you're part of the community now?"
really mean? Let's detour into Jesse's perspective really quick. During Convergence, we assume that Jesse's anger at Ellie is based on the fact that she took Dina, someone who is a part of Jesse's community, to Seattle and was unable to protect her in a way that he deemed right. But we find that his anger grows and extends as she shows something that he already knew, that Ellie is just out for herself, that as long as she gets the revenge that she wants, she doesn't seem to care who gets hurt, who loses what parts of themselves, or who dies. In the first episode, Jesse says,
"Oh, you're part of the community now?"
in this moment, Jesse is indirectly saying, hey, your actions are appearing a bit selfish and isolating. The way that he frames it is so interesting. It's framed as a joke, like he's throwing a friendly jab at her. He doesn't want it to come across as too confrontational, but she responds with,
"Don't pull punches."
essentially indicating that if he wants her to feel as if she is accepted in this community, then maybe Jesse shouldn't treat her as if she's Joel's shadow. Let's ask some questions here. Why would she want to join a community that on a surface level won't treat her with the same amount of respect and dignity as Joel? Why would she join a community that seems to almost demean her, treat her like she isn't capable of taking care of herself or her own emotions? Some people have said that Ellie was dumbed down from the game because she stumbles over her words or runs in guns blazing, but honestly that feels awfully reductive and very demeaning. It's not Ellie being dumbed down, it's Ellie grieving. Ellie reads the room before the vote is over. She knows she's already lost. She knows no amount of speech she gives will change Dina's mind into thinking that she made the right choice to kill her mom's killer. Microcosm, Ellie knows that she shouldn't just wander up to the TV station with the painted WLF tag on it. Just because Dina has to question things that Ellie is doing doesn't make her dumb. It just means that she's not seeing through the fog clearly enough. Let me give one more example. Ellie and Jesse get penned down in this car garage as they hear gunshots. Then in comes a Seraphite who falls to the ground and then is very soon surrounded by a bunch of WLF members. Ellie gets up like she's going to go and help this Seraphite. We could ask so many questions here. Does Ellie see Joel in this Seraphite? Does Ellie see herself in this Seraphite? Because of what the wolves did to Ellie, we could say that no matter what the Scars did, Ellie sees the wolves as categorically wrong in every conflict that she confronts them on. Ellie just wants to help a kid who seems to be struggling. But Jesse stops her, and this leads to Ellie yelling at Jesse for making the wrong choice.
There were 6 of them and 2 of us. What do you think would have happened?
You fucking kid!
Ellie, these people are shooting each other, lynching each other, ripping each other's guts out. Even the kids. I am not dying out here.
That the fog of grief has prevented her from thinking with complete clarity. So for me, at least, it never felt like she was dumbed down, but was trying to think through the thick fog of grief. Let's focus back on Jesse for a second. Jesse holds his head high, but it's the same storm, the same grief, but it's just folded into duty instead of fear. We join Jesse and Ellie on day 3 as the two of them attempt to reconcile with this unresolved tension that is clearly lingering in the air between the two of them. There is something unsaid between them, and we are trying to figure out what it is. Is Jesse jealous that Ellie and Dina are together now? Does this jealousy stem from finding out that Dina is pregnant with his kid? Obviously the answer is yes, even if it's slightly, but it's a bit more complicated than that. Jesse, for the entirety of his days in Seattle, seems to almost be questioning his role as future leader of Jackson. He seems to have some contempt for the idea of being the future Maria. Jesse seems to want everyone to be on an equal playing field, that everyone should act like him, because sometimes we have to sacrifice parts of ourselves for the greater whole. This is why Maria and Tommy seem to have chosen him for the list of future leaders of Jackson. Jesse is selfless to an over-degree. This is why he's so upset with Ellie's actions throughout this entire show. On the surface level, it presents itself as being jealous of Dina and caring about the community, because those are the lens at which Jesse sees right and wrong. But under all that, he is kind of jealous that Ellie gets to act so independently, as Jesse tells us.
Right now, we got a lot of problems. Like a wounded pregnant girl. Maybe Tommy's dead. Maybe we'll be dead. So let me at least just get this one off the table. Yes, I love her. But not the way you do.
So many things could be said to push this narrative forward, but it's important to focus on what prompts him bringing this up in the first place. Ellie grabs a kid's book off the shelf and plans on giving it to Dina for the kid. Jesse comments on the book being a good choice, and Ellie feels the need to address the awkwardness of her relationship with Dina. Jesse brings this up hoping that he can resolve some of that tension that is lingering in the air between the two of them, but the issue is that this sentence where he admits that he still deeply cares for Dina, but doesn't want to be with her romantic styles, isn't the unsaid thing or the tension that is lingering in the air. So while the sentence is heartfelt and truthful, it feels as if it's barely scraping the bottom of the barrel, and he knows this, which is why he starts telling us about this anecdote about his life.
Remember that group that stopped by Jackson for a few weeks on their way south to Mexico?
From Alberta? Yeah, they had some decent shit to trade.
There was this girl with them. She was a couple of years older than me. I don't know if you remember. She was selling paintings, like landscapes and shit.
Were they good?
No. I bought 4 of them. That fucking feeling. When you're falling for someone and they're falling right back.
So what happened?
Best 2 weeks of my life. But she couldn't stay. Didn't want to abandon her family like that. So she asked me to go with them instead. And I wanted to. More than anything.
Then why didn't you?
Because the people of Jackson took me in, raised me, cared for me. Because everyone there is counting on me to be the next Maria. Because I was taught to put other people first.
Okay.
This time, it's not a friendly jab, it's a story that he tells with a moral. He is trying to teach her a lesson here. Sometimes you need to put others first, because what matters more than anything in this world is the people around you. But Ellie can't learn this lesson as of right now, because the person who mattered to her most in the world was taken from her, as she says during their big blowout fight a few minutes later.
You think you're good and I'm bad? You let a kid die today, Jesse. Which is why he wasn't in your community. Let me tell you about my community. My community was beaten to death in front of me while I was forced to fucking watch. So don't look at me like you're better than me, or like you'd do anything differently if you were in my shoes, because you're not, and you wouldn't.
This comes off the heels of Jesse revealing that he didn't vote yes for Ellie's request to have people go with her to help kill Joel's killers. It didn't align with his thoughts of what's best for the community, so he vetoed it. It's no longer a friendly jab or a moral lesson. It's the truth, and it's a betrayal, and it's meant to hurt, and it does hurt. The thing is, they are both right and wrong here, which is why they fight. Though their ideals don't seem fully aligned, both of them are very similar, which is why they clash. They both want to do what's right for the people around them, but they don't know how and what the best path forward is, so they attempt to find it through the dark. Either way, this fight ends in Jesse heading to find Tommy, and Ellie leaving to go find the aquarium. As Ellie finally arrives, the storm has picked up in full gear. The waves were harder to navigate. The boat almost capsized again. When she enters through the top of the aquarium and makes her way to confront Mel and Owen, Ellie attempts to use the same torturing device that Joel told her about. But Owen reaches for a gun. Ellie reacts and shoots him. Owen falls to the ground dead. However, we soon find out that the bullet has grazed and cut Mel's neck. She falls back onto the ground, slowly bleeding out. As Mel rips her jacket open and reveals that she's pregnant, she begs and pleads with Ellie to cut the baby out of her. However, she can't focus on what Mel is saying here because her new identity, the one that she has started to formulate since finding out that Dina is pregnant, has once again been undercut and taken from her. She thought that she was going to be a dad. She thought that she was doing this for the right reasons. But how can she be a dad if she just killed someone's kid? How can she be doing this for the right reasons if they weren't even trying to kill her? She can justify Nora. Nora held her down. But how can she do this to the people who seem to have practically no involvement except for being there? Owen defends her, keeps her alive. Sometimes, a heavy downpour as you make your way across an ocean with bad waves can often be treacherous to navigate. Let me answer a question that this video has been low-key trying to address this entire time. If we can't ask why something is shown, if we don't ask what the dialogue is trying to communicate, if we don't see the visual symbolism or see what the characters are attempting to mask or say, then why do we look at stories at all? What makes a good adaptation? It's a question that we've been asking ourselves a lot recently. Is a good adaptation a shot-for-shot remake? Is it a completely new movie? Is it the same thing with new stuff mixed in? Here's my conclusion. You can't judge a piece of media on your expectations of the previous piece. You can't use a piece of work to say that another piece of work is bad. When you're doing this, you're reducing it, and honestly, that's not how storytelling works. The Last of Us Season 2 hurts. It lingers, like the spores do underground. I find when I'm hurting or grieving, I don't typically lash out or get angry. I spiral inwards, which is what Ellie is doing this entire season. This is what changed from the original to the adaptation. There is a quietness to all the moments in the show, moments where we watch as Ellie pretends to be happy, but is actually hurting. It is a loud grief that controls The Last of Us Part 2, but it is a quiet grief that coats The Last of Us Season 2. For me, nothing will make this scene in the game more haunting than to know that there is a version of this story in which a bleeding out Mel begs and pleads for Ellie to cut the baby out of her, but Ellie being at such disconnection with her new identity, being unable to process or follow those instructions. For me, nothing will hit like when Joel lies to Gale and we see Ellie finally understand in full exactly how he lied to her atop that hill in Jackson. That
You swore.
is so deeply powerful and moving. It's an understanding that for the first time, this person that she thought that she trusted, that she thought was part of her community, has been lying to her this entire time. And better yet, she suspected it years ago, but she set it to the side because she thought she could trust him. For me, nothing will hit quite like the way it does when a character who has been smiling after losing someone they deeply care about leave a room and we see their smile turn to disconnection. What happens when grief makes you someone you don't recognize? It's a question that Ellie only starts asking as she sits on her knees over Mel's dead body. How do you move forward from all this sudden death and destruction that you have left in your path? Sure, it seems small by the game's standards, but its implications emotionally are big. Ellie kills a few people after thinking in the first season that she was going to be the thing that saved humanity. Simultaneously, this is a question that sets up Abby's arc. What happens when you finally get your revenge and it doesn't bring you the happiness or closure that you're looking for, but it actually brings you in confrontation with yourself? You don't know who you've become in the wake of your own actions. How do you come back from that? Can you come back from that? What happens when family becomes a memory that you just can't carry around anymore? These are the questions that Ellie is starting to formulate in her head before wrestling up front and the death of Jesse. Storms are often very quiet until the thunder and wind arrive, and then the storm can be the loudest and wildest thing imaginable. The storm didn't just break Ellie, it broke the silence, and in its wake, we're left trying to put what's cracked into an envelope. hoping it reaches someone who understands.
I hope it rains. I want a downpour to flood me again, to soak me through. I hope it rains. I want a downpour to flood me again, to soak me through. I want to hear it roar up above me. Remember, your love is enough to keep me warm. I hope it rains. You pray for the sunshine, I pray for the rain. You pray for the sunshine, I pray for the rain. Flood me again, you pray for the sunshine. You pray for the sunshine, I pray for the rain. I hope it rains.